of the North Course Championship and to tell you about our matches and the 4 gentlemen participating in them this evening. Here's Mike Bushy.
Well, the first match we'll be seeing will be Tim Missler against Jeff Heron. Jeff Heron is the only amateur putting in the course championship, and he is definitely capable of winning it, Dave. And the other match we'll see will be Ken Moore against Brian Guy. And Ken Moore is the only previous course championship putting in the course championship who are left.
We've seen last week, Mike, as you well know, we saw some outstanding putting, and now it comes down to the nitty-gritty, and you and I have both been in this position before. What do the guys feel like mentally, and is fatigue any factor in this at all?
Well, we talked about it last week, Dave, is that most of the putters have had a chance to sit down and rest for a while before some of their matches. And the only person who had to play almost continuously was Brian Johnson. He got knocked out in the semifinals of each bracket, so he's not in the tournament any longer. So all these 4 guys had a chance to rest, so fatigue shouldn't be a factor in these final 3 matches.
Okay, we have 4 outstanding putters vying for the North Course Championship. Let's get out to the course and show you the highlights from each match.
Good.
Semifinal match number 1. 18 holes have already been played. Tim Missler putting now, leading by 3 over Jeff Heron. Begin with the second 18, hole number 1.
Well, Jeff, I don't believe has been this far in the course championship. He was last year. His dad beat him in one of the semifinals of the brackets, not the semifinal of the tournament. So this is as far as Jeff's been, so maybe a little nerves might be getting to him now.
Tim up 4 as we go to hole number 2. Tim is a veteran putter, has been in these situations many times before.
These first few holes is going to tail the tail for Jeff, I think, if Tim can get through, get a few aces here on the early holes and force Jeff to ace here as he's putting second. This could tail the tail of the final 18 holes here.
And Jeff with an ace, and they have this hole. Tim up 4, 16 holes to play. And Tim continuing to put the pressure on Jeff. He's making the holes that he needs to make, and he starts out 3 for 3.
Tim said he's gotten all 3 of these holes before, so, and there's another hole in run for Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, to Jeff's credit, he's doing an outstanding job of staying in this match. He's easily could have gotten discouraged and really fallen behind, and and Tim lips, but he fortunately stays on the hill.
Yeah, stop saying that. That looked like it's pretty good. It was going to go in. Sharked him. And if Jeff can get here and cut it to 3, it could be very important for him. Another 6 going to go right.
And Tim will continue to lead by 4. Hole number 5. And Tim lips another hole.
Boy, Tim is just getting everything so close to the hole. He's lipping out and everything. He could be up 5 or 6 here. He's got a couple of those putts to fall. He's hitting the ball real well right now, Dave.
Yeah, and Jeff needs to take advantage. He's just gotten 2 breaks in a row, and he's got to start cutting into the deficit. That looks awfully good. And Jeff cuts the deficit to 3. Jeff plays the backdoor shot here on hole number 6. Did he get it there?
Just left a little short, but I'm sure he's happy with that putt. 6 and 7. Tim makes a mistake here and makes the deficit 2 or 1 here on 6 and 7. Dead man's corner here, Dave. Could be a big part of the last 18 holes.
And Tim nails that one to go back up by 4. Tim continuing to lead by 4, but the biggest thing is that there's only 12 holes left to play. And Tim's going to have to make a putt from the left-hand corner to salvage par. And he's got it.
Very important deuce putt there for Tim. he can go into the back nine with this four-hole lead here, I think he's going to have a pretty easy time in the back nine. I think that the putt out of this corner is a lot tougher than the one that Tim was in, I think. At least it was for me when I was putting. And he missed it, and he goes down by 5.
Here's Tim's putt on hole 8. And Tim lips again, and
it should be about over. If he those 3 holes aced, he'd be about 8-9 up right now with just a few holes left. No, couldn't get it. Not going to get it. At least I don't think. There we go.
And Tim in very good position right now with a 5-hole lead. You don't want to get too conservative because Jeff's an outstanding putter. Want to go for everything. And this putt here is by no means a gimme. There is a slight break to it. And Jeff here, if he could ace, could cut it back down to 4, and anything could happen. Jeff needs to take advantage of every opportunity now.
Yeah, a little bit too soft, maybe. Yep.
Okay, we go to the back 9 now. Tim's still continuing to lead by 5. Looks good. Cannot be done any better than that. Now the deficit for Jeff Herron is 6 with 8 holes to play. Tim in real good shape here as he knocks in another one. Sub 6. 6 with 8. That's not going to get there. 7 with 7. And this possibly, Mike, could be the last hole of this semifinal match.
Could be the season.
And Tim Mishler is one of our finalists here for the North Course Championship, defeating Jeff Herron.
Here's our other semifinal match of our course championship, and it's Kenny Moore against Brian Guy. And Kenny Moore at this point with 18 holes to play is up 3 on Brian Guy. And with me is John Filber, helping to do colors. Dave's going to take a break until the final match.
Well, I've been watching Kenny here over the last few holes, and he seems to be right on target with his putts. So he's forcing Brian to top these ace putts he's making. We'll see how he does here.
Well, Brian's never been this far in a course championship, and Kenny's putting the pressure on him. Ken Moore 4 up with 17 holes to play. And when Kenny's on, he's tough to beat, isn't he, John?
Well, he certainly is, and he didn't use either one of the little hills there on the side, you might say, for his putt there, and I think that's one of the reasons he missed it. I think most of the putters have to use the undulating action there between the 2 hills on the side in order to get an ace putt, and I noticed that Ken didn't do it that time. Well, there it is right there with Brian Guy. He used that back and forth motion there from left to right in order to get his ace on that hole.
Brian Guy now 3 down in the match as we move to hole number 3. 2 easy holes, Perry on the front 9. Hole 3, and there's an ace for Brian again.
Well, this is a hole that you like to ace, say 2 out of 3 times. And if you have several matches, like 3 matches, you think you should ace it at least 2 out of 3, I'd imagine.
I would say that if I was in a course championship and I would expect to make this one every time. And Kenny Moore aces. Hole number 4, and Brian pulls that. It's not going to be enough to put him back down the hill, but I do believe Kenny will give him the deuce.
Well, on this hole, there's enough flat surface up the top that if you hit it flat off the back rail, unless you have a whole lot of speed into the putt, you're going to be safe.
Yep. That looks pretty good. You got it. Kenny Moore back to 4 up in the match. And John, I was just watching Kenny putt that hole, and I noticed him placing that ball on the 4th dot on the tee mat. And I've seen some other guys play it on different dots. And how important is that that placement on the tee mat?
Well, I just usually go off the front 4 on the hole that they just finished back there.
Not so much that hole, John, but on any hole. I mean,
on any hole. Oh, the importance of the tee mat. Well, it's a critical. Where you place your ball on the tee mat. I mean, it can make the difference between an ace and a deuce or whatever. The importance of experimentation on these tee mat spots is crucial here. Like I said before, if you can't make it on one, you should experiment until you find one that you can ace off of.
Kenny stays 4 up in the match as he misses his deuce here on hole number 6. On course number 1, Brian Guy is putting next. 4 down. Couldn't get it, and he'll be putting for his deuce here. Well, John, you've been out here watching a lot of these matches tonight. We've just been watching a few holes of each match, but you've been out here watching a lot of these matches. Have you seen how some of these people have been doing on here on 6 and 7?
Well, I've noticed that Ken here in particular has been putting real well on this hole. He's aced it several times in his matches thus far this evening.
I would think that if you were to ace 6 and 7 in most of your matches, you would win or go up 1 or 2 of holes by acing a couple of these holes.
Well, I would certainly think so. There's now there Ken just missed his deuce down there. It's a tricky deuce from down there, but if you can ace either one of these 2 holes, then it's a real advantage because a lot of the putters have trouble with them from time to, especially the amateur putters. But
well, I probably heard you just said you'd been putting this putt well tonight, and he probably heard you there, John. But after that first match that he got beat by Rick Gerard there, Ken's just been on fire.
Well, I can't really recall whether Ken has ever won a course championship, but
I believe he's won. I don't know if he's won 1 or 2 North course, but he's won at least 1 North and 1 South. I know that.
I think it's been a few years since he's done it, though, because I don't believe he's won one since I've been out here. So.
And it good. Cuts the deficit to 3. 11 holes to play and 3 down, and couldn't get that one to go. Brian is really showing some emotion out there, John.
Well, I see a number of the putters tonight are using are not using the little semicircle there in the middle there. They're banking it off the rail and so forth, and attempting to come up with a consistent ace putt on this hole. But I really don't know that there is a consistent ace putt, but like there just comes within a few inches. But if there is a consistent ace putt, I really don't know what it is.
Hole number 9, and if Brian's going to make a charge, now's the time.
Well, now's the time, and anything can happen in match play. So, and he hit that. Well, it's gonna go. Well, that was kind of bizarre the way that worked out, but it looked like he had pretty good location there on the right rail.
It gave him a real bad kick, didn't it?
It sure did. It was really strange the way it kicked there. You should try to hit it somewhere around that light pole there. Somewhere in that vicinity. Kenny hit his a little early, but
Ten as we start the back 9 of this final 9. Brian couldn't get that to fall. Brian plays this hole pretty well. I see him ace it all the time.
Well, just about all the putters now, the experienced putters use that left to right rail combination putt there. And Again, I don't know that there's a putt that's going to ensure you with a consistent ace on this hole, but that seems to be the putt that most of the guys use.
This hole used to be a real monster, but it's not quite as bad as it used to be in terms of taking big numbers on it.
Yeah, well, it's never bothered me personally that much. If I don't ace it very often, but I almost always get my deuce, so you know, it's not a hole you're going to take a 5 or a 6 on too easily, unless you're just inexperienced.
Kenny Moore keeps his lead at 3. If Kenny Moore can keep his lead going into 13 and 14 and keep it as he goes through those holes, that I'm sure he could probably be our winner.
I would think so.
There's a bad break.
You know, Kenny's got a lot of experience out here, and he's going to hang in there and be consistent. He's not going to make too many mistakes. So.
Yeah, that was a major mistake there by Brian, missing an easy hole like 11 here.
Yeah, well, most of the pros, I'm sure, ace this consistently, so it is too bad that he missed that. But Ken aces it, and he goes up another stroke.
He had 4 with 7 holes to play, and that was about, I think, about a nail in Brian's coffin there with a miss on an easy hole like that.
Yes, I would think that Ken is, unless he really has a major collapse here, that he's going to win this match. He's got his deuce there.
Well, there really isn't any real automatic ace on the remaining holes here, so you really have to hit a good putt for it to ace.
Well, absolutely. You can't take any of them for granted here, so this is not a course that you take holes for granted on. We'll see how Brian does.
Don't believe so. And Kenny Moore will keep his 4-up lead. 13 and 14, 2 of the toughest holes in the back 9. John, have you seen many strokes on these holes tonight?
Well, this is a hole that can, you know, Ken gets his ace there, but this is a hole that can kind of mess you up if you miss-hit it or if you don't hit it with enough speed. If you leave it short, it can roll back, and you can have kind of a tough, testy deuce putt there. And if you get it off to either side here, it's real tough. But and it's not an easy ace. You really have to hit a perfect putt to get it in the cup.
And Kenny goes 5 with 5 holes to play. 5 with 5 holes to play, and if Kenny aces the hole, the match will be over, and Kenny will be one of our finalists in our 1992 putting championship. And he just caught a little bit of the cup. He'll be back in the corner. Well, I know this is a tough putt, John, but you definitely practice this putt several times.
Well, if you miss your ace, you want to be up on that flat surface. Any putt is bad if it's down off the flat surface. But most of the time, you're going to end up back by the right rail where Ken is right now. I guess he got his deuce there.
Brian Guy has to ace out to tie the match. It's not impossible, but mostly improbable on this course, acing out from here.
Well, if he was able to do it, he could be labeled the greatest clutch putter of all time, I think.
Brian's putted well tonight. You have to give him all the credit in the world getting this far in the course championship. It's not easy to do.
Well, I think this is only Brian's 2nd or 3rd year as a pro, so he's got many great years ahead of him.
And Kenny Moore is one of our finalists in the course championship.
Okay, we're ready for our final match this evening to determine our North Course champion. This will be a 36-hole event. We will film each and every hole for you. To my left is Kenny Moore, who defeated Brian Guy in his semifinal match. And on my right is Tim Mishler, who defeated Jeff Herron in his semifinal match. 2 outstanding pro putters going at it for the North Course championship. Good luck to both of you. You all set? Okay, we're ready for the final match of the 1992 North Course Championship. Tim with the honors will putt first. I'll tell you, John, I haven't seen Tim miss this hole tonight.
No, I'm sure he's aced it the majority of the times he's tried it. And he just goes straight in, doesn't worry about the bank on either left or right, and just takes it right into the cup. Ken's going to try the same.
And Tim early lead through one hole. Okay, Tim on the second hole. Tim has just went nuts on the front nine tonight, guys. On the every match that I've seen him play, he's just been outstanding on the front.
Yeah, he was tough against me on the front. I managed to stay with him on the back, but the front's where he got me.
That was Brian Summers. John Filber's also out here doing color commentary with us. And here's Kenny's putt. Hole number 3. I don't know.
Well, this is a hole that you want to ace just about every time, and certainly the pros ace it every time, or almost every time. So it's a little opening for Ken here, and we'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, Tim said his putt wasn't a good effort. He was right. It didn't deserve to go in. Let's see what Ken does. That didn't look too good either, but it goes.
Kenny with his first honors of the match. We're on the 4th hole. He trails by 1. We've seen a lot of one-sided matches tonight, guys, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I think this match is going to be close.
Oh, I think so too. These are two of the best putters on this course.
And Tim, who admittedly has putted much better out south this year than he has out north, is kind of surprised to be in this position. Hurry, hurry.
I understand. I understood that Tim really didn't care that much for this course, but you know, as far as choosing between the 3 that we play on out here, but he's certainly doing well on it tonight.
Sure is. Okay, Tim up 2 still. Hole number 5. And now Tim's putt. It's going to miss on the right-hand side. It might go back door. And he maintains his 2-hole advantage. I'd like to make a little correction. Tim is only up by 1 through 5 holes of play. This is the 6th hole. Kenny Moore's putt. He's going to be short, but that's good position.
Yeah, on this hole, it's as long as you're on the flat plateau up there, it's a good deuce.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that Ken was too happy with that putt. That's the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen him leave it short.
And here's Tim nailing it again. Tim up 2, and the hard holes tonight, guys, from what I have seen, he has really done well. He said he's really done well on 13 and 14, and I know he's done well on 6 and 7. And these are holes that are tough to ace.
Well, these are holes in which you can really get into trouble if you don't ace them. Now, of course, these fellows are going to get their deuce 99% of the time.
And Ken is probably hoping for an ace here. He had a little problem in one of his last matches with his deuce putts, which is uncharacteristic of him. Let's see what he does.
It's going left, and it's going to stay left. It will not break back to the hole. Am I in your way? Nice putt for a par. Okay, moving on to hole number 8. Tim's still maintaining a 2-hole advantage. Is it fast enough?
No. I've seen about 4 different ace putts on this hole that I can count, and I haven't seen any of them go consistently. The only one that's dropped with any consistency is the 3 bank putt that misses the rail.
And Kenny with an opportunity to cut into the deficit here. Can't quite get it to go, and he'll still trail by 2. Okay, Tim's putt on hole number 9.
Well, it looks perfect so far here. Nope, he's going to go high on it. It looked to me like he hit it off the rail, just about the right spot, but it came off the connecting rail and went high here, so we'll see how he does on the deuce. He gets his deuce. We'll see how Ken does. This is a good ace hole. Certainly the pros, I would think, would expect to ace it certainly much more often than not. Kenny's forsaking the right rail altogether. He uses a connecting rail, and his comes up underneath the cup. So neither one of the fellows gets the ace that they would want on this hole.
Okay, back 9. Tim still maintains his 2-hole lead. Hole number 10.
Yeah, this is an ace putt that changes quite a bit. Even hour to hour during the night, that was a nice putt by Tim. I think he might have been playing that out of 2 earlier. It looks like he switched to 1. It really helped him there.
Both these guys have been real consistent throughout the course of the year, and I'll be very surprised if you see any 3s at all in this match, because neither one of these guys beats themselves.
That's true. When I played Tim in the first round match, I think he only had 1 bogey.
Okay, and hole number 11. This is a hole you expect both guys to make.
Well, Tim is real confident and is putting aggressively, but he missed it. Fortunately, he was up on the plateau and he tapped it in for an easy deuce. This is an opportunity for Ken to make up some ground here, and we'll see how he does. And he makes the most of it.
Okay, hole number 12. Here's Kenny's putt. Back door possibly. Hurry, hurry.
This carpet has so many wiggles and indentations in it. It's really hard to get anything consistently to drop, and that in the cup so hard. And the cup swallows the ball, and Tim gains another hole.
Okay, Tim, back up to a 3-hole advantage as we go to number 13.
Well, this is what just happened is typical of what can happen to you on this hole. It looks fairly easy from standing back there on the tee mat, but putt has to be practically perfect to go in, and a lot of times you can lip off at the very last second, and you'll end up in a position that Tim finds himself in right now.
This is a place that most of you guys are probably not real familiar with.
Well, I think the amateurs are probably more familiar with it than the pros, but for Tim, it's a real unusual situation. I'm sure he doesn't get a chance to putt this kind of a putt very often here. But you're just going to go back and forth, so he should be able to make this next putt, I would think. No, guess not. He's going to lay up.
And that's the beauty of match play, guys, is instead of the 6, the probability is he's just going to lose a hole and not 6 strokes. Tim. And Kenny just laying up, playing the very smart percentage shot here. Tim says, let's get it over with, and Kenny cuts the deficit to 2. Okay, we go to 14, and still waiting for Kenny to make a charge, and as of yet, he really hasn't.
And he lips on the high side there. Ken hasn't had any problems with these putts down here on this hole, so he should have this.
Yeah, it's a putt you practice till you're blue in the face, because this is where you are 90% of the time.
Oh yeah, in meadow play, sitting back in the corner for 15, 20 minutes and practicing the shot is a stroke saver. Now, Tim has been putting this hole well. I think he had either 4 or 5 aces in a row. Let's see if he can add another one.
He's got a chance. Oh, and they both look like identical putts, missing on the right side. And Tim will have just about the exact putt that Kenny did to save his par.
And say this is a putt that you expect a pro to make, but you never know. That's why they putt it.
Got it. Okay, 15th hole. Here's Kenny's putt.
Well, this is a good ace hole, but the problem is if you miss it, you end up where Ken is right now usually. And it's not an easy deuce from where he is right there. You can't take it for granted. Ken gets his deuce. Another opening for Tim here. Well, Tim misses and gonna have a similar deuce putt. And that's what can happen on this hole.
And Kenny has cut the deficit to 1. And Tim with a small mistake there back on 15. And let's see if Kenny gets a little bit of momentum here. That one I don't believe is going to go.
Now this is a funny hole because the rails aren't tight and your ball can kick any which way coming off either the right rail or the left rail. It's an easy deuce because the rail that blocks the hole is like a sponge. It just holds it right there. But aces can be tough. It's got a chance.
And they're going to have the hole, and Tim will maintain a 1-hole lead through 15 holes of play. 16. Okay, we're at the 17th hole now. Kenny playing at front door.
Well, Ken told me about his putt on this hole. He just takes it off number 2 on the mat and just hits it straight off the mat, doesn't even pay attention to the cup. And he says it works for him. This time he missed it, but he's made it several times earlier this evening. And we'll see how Tim approaches this hole.
I think Tim plays this hole front door as well. I don't think he'll be blasting it. And he pushed it out to the left, but he's going to be in excellent position for a deuce, and he will maintain his 1-hole advantage. Okay, the first 18 holes are almost completed, and as we expected, a very close competitive match. Kenny cannot get 18 to go, and Tim, after his hot start, has kind of cooled off, and Kenny's made a few here and there, but both these guys are capable of putting a lot better than they have, Brian.
That's right. I expect to see a very tight and competitive match through the second 18.
Here's Tim's putt. He's using the left rail. He's going to get there. It does. He's got it.
That was a pro putt.
Okay, we go to the second 18, and Tim up by 2. And John, you think that nice ace he had on 18 will carry over some momentum for Tim?
Well, I would certainly think so. I thought for a second there it was going to remain back there by the rail and wouldn't even come back. But the fact that not only did it come back but went in the cup has got to be a tremendous boost. Like you say, Tim's cooled off a little bit here, so that might get his engines fired up again. And he gets a difficult deuce putt here, so that isn't going to hurt either.
And I haven't seen every match that Tim's played in, and I've not seen him putt hole 1, but that's the first time tonight I've seen him miss it.
Yeah, he's been making this hole pretty consistently, and I believe Ken has also. At least I've seen him make it several times, so.
And Kenny kept that ball out way right, and he's going to have a long putt to salvage a par here. And when you're down in a match that means so much, boy, you just can't afford to give away a hole.
Well, that's the difficult thing about this hole. It's great if you make your ace, but if you don't, frequently it's a very tough deuce coming back. You know, Kenny handles it with no problem.
Okay, another hole that Tim's had a lot of success on tonight is number 2. Plays the double hill shot. Looks good. Has it.
Has a beautiful putt. This hole is very, very fast, and I've seen a lot of putters, even the pros, miss it and come up on top of the hill, and that's not where you want to be. Tim dropped his right in. Let's see what Ken does. And Ken just didn't catch the hill. You need to catch the last hill, like the last 6 to 8 inches, in order to rock the ball back into the hole.
16 holes to play.
Well, Tim's real confident right now. He's, well, he misses his ace here, so.
And you can tell he's upset about it because this is a hole he knows he should make, and you don't want to give a putter like Kenny an opportunity to get back in the hunt.
Well, that's for sure, and Ken's going to try to make the most of it here. Well, Ken can't convert his ace here, so it's not going to hurt Tim too much.
Okay, Tim has led from the opening hole, if I remember correctly. He has never trailed in this match. And right now, you know, Tim is not really struggling, but he can't get anything to go. But the problem for Kenny is he can't ace anything at the moment either.
Right, in match play, when someone deuces in front of you, you have to feel that you want to really come after that ace, because that's just an open door for you. Tim hasn't had a bunch of luck on this hole. But I'm not sure what Ken has done, but he's usually plays his hole fairly well. So you can see where the ball will have to come up the 2 undulations, and it looks like Ken left that one out a little bit.
I was surprised that one held the line as good as it did, because it looked from here he pushed it right.
Yeah, it usually will break off more to the corner and miss the triangle completely. And Tim's going to make him putt the deuce. Say this should be fairly straight in, but with the pressure of a course championship, see what Ken can convert it.
Okay, hole number 5. Here's Tim's putt.
Well, we haven't seen too many aces. I haven't seen too many aces made on this hole by anybody tonight. I don't think you could call it an easy ace, but it's one that you're tempted to think that you should be able to make, certainly if you're a pro.
That's got problems. And now Kenny was really charging that one, and now he's in a position where he generally isn't at.
Well, it's a real difficult. He's a no man's land up there now. So I'm certain he's going to have to take a few seconds to kind of figure out what he's going to do here, because like you say, he doesn't have to make this putt very often.
No. And Tim is up by 4. Okay, hole number 7, Tim up 4. 6?
You sure? 7's right behind us. Hole number 6.
Oh, hole number 6. Doesn't matter what hole it is, the putt's in it, so.
Yeah, all putts are beautiful. Sitting in the bottom of the one was. This is one of my favorite holes now. Since Jeff Herron showed me his nice backdoor putt, I usually either get a backdoor ace or leave myself an easy deuce. Ken plays a different putt. He's about the only person that plays that right rail.
What's the box? So you know. We're gonna get some pussies out of there. Got a lot of those already.
It's Tim's putt on hole 7. That's going to stay right.
Well, Tim's in pretty good shape for his deuce here. He's not off to one side or the other. He's more or less right in front of the cup. And he's got his deuce. Well, Kenny needs to start making some aces here, but this match is rapidly approaching the point where it's going to be over unless Ken really starts charging. And that's not it.
I'm way out again.
Well, he's going to be back by the back rail, and the farther back, closer to the rail you get back there, the tougher the deuce is. So.
Good putt.
Good deuce by Ken.
Hole number 8. And Tim with an ace.
It's a beautiful putt. Really puts the pressure on Ken to ace behind him just to stay where he's at and not to lose another hole.
And Tim is now up 6 with 10 holes to play. Well, Tim's ability to play the front 9 has been really a key in this match, John.
Well, I think we have to remember that both these fellows have had to make a humongous number of putts here since about 7:30 this evening, so the fact that Ken is slowing down a little bit is understandable, but on the other hand, the fact that Tim is charging here and still aggressive and still making aces is really a tribute to him, I think.
Yeah, where Kenny needed an ace, he needs one now. And he's got it, and he cuts the deficit to 5. Kenny 5 down, 9 holes to play, but this match by no means over. If Kenny could string together 2 or 3 or 4 in a row here, we'll have to see how Tim can respond, but Kenny has got an ace. Deuces don't do him any good now, Brian.
Yeah, that one right there hurts, but Ken is definitely capable of acing out for that matter. He can really string them together, and it's going to be up to Tim to hold his lead. It's a nice deuce. That's not the easiest deuce. In fact, there are no easy deuces on this hole.
And this is another hole that we've seen Tim putt very well tonight. Quarterfinals, semifinals, and if I remember correctly, he made it in the first 18 against Kenny.
And he made it in both rounds against me. So he's done very well. That's got a... No, it didn't. It kind of slid off at the end.
I think we jinxed him.
Probably. Tim's going to be faced with about the same putt Ken had, maybe 6 inches shorter. And they have the hole.
Okay, hole number 11. Kenny putting first, needs an ace badly. He pushed it. And sometimes, John, the harder you try, the I don't know, the more pressure you put on yourself. Kenny not putting pressure on himself, but he just can't ace.
Well, there has to be some pressure here. I know that Ken has been in this situation many times, but it's no wonder he's pressing a little bit here. He's running out of holes, and Tim is just not letting up on him, so we'll see how Tim does on this hole.
Perfect. 6 or 7, sudden death. Tim now up 6, 7 holes to play. Plays this front door, and that one's not going to go.
But he's close enough. Tim has done a great job maintaining and expanding his lead here. There's a lot of pressure on Ken, not even from Tim, but also from himself, because he's had such a good year here this year. And he's probably expected to either win this or to come very close, and it looks like he's not going to come very close.
Okay, Tim taking a deep breath. He knows just as well as we do that this could be it. He aces, the match is over. If him and Kenny both deuce, the match is over. He's got a chance, and he's got it. And Tim Mishler is our 1992 North Course champion. We'll be back to talk to both participants in just a minute. Okay, we're here with our final match play participants here in the North Course Championship, and we're going to talk to Kenny Moore on my right. And Kenny, I'd like to present you with this runner-up trophy. You putted outstanding all evening long, and then you just ran into a buzzsaw the last match, and you just couldn't make any aces when you really needed them the most.
Yeah, I couldn't make any, and well, sometimes that's the way it goes. You just have to chalk it up to experience and say, on with the next time.
Yeah, well, some of the guys were saying tonight that some matches that you don't need to putt real well to win, and then there are other matches that you wish you had some of those aces, and when you really, need them.
Oh, yeah. I think if any other match I had tonight, if I would have been in it with any of the amount of aces I had in that last round, I don't think I had 4 or 5 aces the whole time, so. But, hey, I did the best I could, so. And Tim putted well, so congratulations to him.
And you putted outstanding as well, Kenny. Congratulations on an outstanding year. Hope to see you during the City Championship.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
Thanks.
And to my left is Tim Mishler, still in a state of euphoria, is winning the North Course Championship this year. And Tim, you putted outstanding all evening long, but I think that the real key for you was that front 9 tonight. You just, the matches that we filmed, you just putted outstanding.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, and 6, those holes, I was making them. I don't have any answers. I've never been that outstanding on those holes, but I don't know. They were just going in. And when you can string together three holes in a row on this course, like 1, 2, and 3, I know I did it against Jeff Heron twice, and I did it against Ken to start off. Oh no, I missed hole 3, but still, the front, putting aces together is the key in getting a lead. I kept waiting for him to start up, but it never happened. I'm pretty lucky, actually.
I thought hole 18 there on the first 18 was a real momentum builder. You were only up 1 going into that hole, and you got an ace with a perfect putt, and you had a two-hole lead, and that had to give you some confidence going into the last 18.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I was really worried because I had screwed up 13, and then I 3'd 15. I let Ken right back into the match, and I was saying to myself, well, here it goes. And then 18, I've been making that putt also all night, just a nice real slow back door, and it dropped, and that gave me a little bit of momentum.
All right, Tim, we'd like to present you with this trophy, the North Course Championship for 1992.
Thanks, Dave.
Once again, congratulations to you, and best of luck in the City Championship.
Thank you, Dave.
We're talking with 2 putters that participated this past weekend in the regionals in Evansville. To my left is Bruce Heron. And first of all, Bruce, how did you do down there? And tell us about the course you played.
I did all right. I wasn't too disappointed. I won 2 matches. I beat the guy from, I beat the representative from Bloomington and the representative there from Memphis. And then in the 3rd round, I lost to a gentleman from Kansas who ended up being 2nd. So I was 1 match away from making the Final 4, which is, I was 3 matches away from making the TV show. The course was kind of tough. It had a lot of holes you could get in trouble on to take bogeys, and it had a lot of holes that just seemed to lip a lot. It's hard to get a good line on them.
What kind of turnout did they have? They have a lot of players participating?
They had 23 people in the regional, and they had 12 people in the qualifying round that some of the guys from Fort Wayne went down and played in.
What about some of the other guys from Fort Wayne? How did they do?
Well, Don Brecht, he didn't putt real good, but he shot right around par. Brian Guy had a bad day. He shot about 100. Jeff shot 96, so he was 4th. He was tied for 4th in the qualifier.
All right, Bruce, thanks a lot for taking the time to visit with us. Best of luck in the City Championships that are coming up next week.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, and on my right, this is Brian Johnson. Brian also was down in Evansville, and Brian, give me your, tell me how you did and your opinion of the course.
Well, I played a really good putter from Indianapolis by the name of Bill Ralph, and he put me out in the first round. I didn't putt the greatest. I think nerves got to me because that was my first time there. But the course itself, I was really comfortable with the course. It was a very nice course, as Bruce said. It was a rough course. There's only one hole that was really as automatic as it gets. But other than that, you had to work for everything you got. And practice, I was hitting the course pretty good, but it just wasn't there against Bill Ralph.
They had a 36-hole match play set up. Is that how they did it?
Yeah, it was 36-hole matches, shotgun start, and part of the problem for me was the group, the twosome in front of us was very slow, and I don't like to putt slow at all. And he got me down. Bill Ralph got me down early, and every time I start to make a charge, would run into that group, and it'd slow me down, get me out of my rhythm, and then he'd put me back down again. So just wasn't my year down there.
Okay, Brian, well, we got the city championships coming up here next week, and unfortunately, because of prior commitments, you won't be able to play. What kind of things are you going to be looking for?
Well, you got to look for Bruce after this regional. He's got his confidence back now. He was slowing down a little bit near the end, but you got to look for him. And Tim Mishler's having an excellent season, one of the best seasons he's had in quite a few years. Brian Guy is putting well now at the end of the year, coming on strong. And, of course, Ken Moore, you can never write him out of anything.
You think it's an advantage putting the South course first, or you think it's a disadvantage? I mean, if you were playing, how would you view it?
Well, I'd rather putt the South course second because I'm stronger on courses 2 and 3 at South. But as far as the guys that are going to be in the tournament, Bruce is going to enjoy this setup because he putts well on courses 1 and 3 up north. Tim is going to have to get out quickly down here because his strengths are course 1 south and course 2 south. So he's going to have to get out of the gates quick and get himself a big lead. Brian Guy, his top course is course 1 south, so he's going to have to come out strong. And Ken's just consistent, so he's just going to have to just plug away and put up the consistent numbers that he regularly does.
Now let's talk about Brian Guy for a second. Last week, I understand he won the South Course Championships, and he putted outstanding.
Yes, he did. It was him and Jeff Heron were the two finalists, and Brian just almost blew out everybody he was against. He did not have a bad round for the night that I can remember, and same with Jeff. So.
I was told Brian didn't lose a match.
No, he didn't. He was the only one. Nobody could touch him. It was his night. And whenever someone started to putt well, he'd just top them, and then when they'd miss, he'd capitalize on it and run them into the ground.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Look forward to seeing you next week to help us out with the city championships.
All right, Dave.
That killed about.
To win the amateur division in the city championships will take somewhere between a 180 and a 190, depending upon the weather conditions, if we get rain, and things like that. As far as starting on the north of the South course, for the better putters, the people who are going to be in the race for the title, it won't matter too much. They all putt well in all 6 courses. Whoever wins will have, I predict, 10, 11, or 12 on the front 9 of course number 1 down here. That'll be a real barometer of who's got a good chance of winning the title.
Probably 3 or probably 6 consistent rounds of under 30 or 30 for the amateur. It'd probably give more confidence since we're putting out south, it'll probably end up giving more confidence to the putters that putt better out south and the putters that putt better north.
I think Tim Mishler will shoot a 175. Oh, he's been pretty consistent all year, especially out here.
What do I think it's going to take to win the city? Well, I think it's going to take some very good scores, especially up north, and I think there'll be a lot of good scores down here on course 1 and 2. I think we have some rain coming in that'll be here for course 3, so that may raise the scores there. Oh, I would say somewhere scores around 30. 30 as an average will definitely win.
Okay, before we close the show tonight, we have some people that we'd like to thank. We had 2 friends of ours from Channel 10 that came out and assisted us with the camera work, Mike Johnson and Ralph Carbach. I'd also like to thank all the guys that did the color commentary, helping us out during the matches this evening, and we'd also like to thank John Snyder, the course owner of Putt-Putt, with his cooperation. The show wouldn't be possible. We'll be joining you once again next week for the 1992 Fort Wayne City Championship. So along with Mike Bushy, this is Dave Kreider saying so long till next week. Was that